Welcome back in, guys. Welcome back in. I'm your host, Big Fish, and today we're talking all about Thursday Night Football between the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed that game last night. In our opinion, it was kind of a snooze fest. So I first want to talk about the game, kind of recapping our thoughts, breaking down some key stats and stuff that was the absolute game changer of the game. Kind of give our outlook, how we predict Washington and Green Bay to stack up the rest of the year and their playoff chances. And then I want to review the bets that we gave out. So you can see over here, we had 7 total bets. We did profit on the night. Could have been a lot better if Noah Brown came down with 2 more receptions, guys. But anyways, without further ado, we're going to highlight a lot of different stuff here. I just want to jump into recapping the game and giving our thoughts on it. So the game opened up as Green Bay 3.5 point favorites. And if you were to ask us before the game, we would have leaned towards Washington plus 3.5 and probably the under. I'm really glad we didn't bet it because the Packers ended up winning by 9 points. But the game felt to be a lot more like of a blowout than 27-18. Like there wasn't a single snap in that game when I felt like the Packers weren't in control. And there's this one stat that really sticks out to me, and that's total yards. So if you see like possession, time of possession, 27 and a half minutes for Washington, 32 and a half for Green Bay. Offensive plays, 65 Washington, 65 or 63 Green Bay. Final score, 27-18 in favor of Green Bay. You'd feel like that was a pretty even game, right? Wrong. Offensive yardage, 404 for Green Bay. Guess how many for Washington? 230 yards for Washington. That's right, 230 yards for Washington. 179 passing yards, 51 rushing yards for Washington compared to 269 and 135 for the Packers. 135 on the ground. A W for Green Bay. Absolute dub. They averaged 4.5 yards per carry, Green Bay did. And it was honestly the rushing attack for the Commanders that really kind of like shit the bed in our opinion. Austin Eckler, 8 carries for 17 yards. I know he hurt his Achilles there late in the game. JCM, Krosky Merritt, good old Bill, 4 carries for 17 yards. And then JD, 7 carries for 17 yards as well. I think the Packers did a tremendous job of limiting the run, first and foremost, stopping the run up front, but then containing JD5 to prevent him from getting out of the pocket and making those spectacular plays and running for 100 yards like he's very capable of. But then their back end is what impressed me. Not only were they keeping JD5 in the pocket, but their back end coverage was really limiting the throwing lanes and kind of the timing routes for JD5 to get the ball out of his hands quick and pick up those positive yardages because they sacked JD5 4 times, but it wasn't like they were beating the offensive line like right off the snap. At least in our opinion, it felt like a coverage sack, which is where like he has to hold on to the ball because no one's open. Like his first read's not open, his second read's not open, and then bang, he's getting like sacked. So tip of the cap to the Packers defense. I think their defense has made a huge improvement from last year. And just to be honest, I don't think it has that much to do with Micah Parsons. I really don't. Micah Parsons, great player. Don't get us wrong. But I feel like this Packers defense would have been great. Okay, maybe not great. They would have been above average to really good without Parsons. So now you throw Parsons in there, they're just that much better. So you got to tip your cap to the Green Bay Packers defense. They really limited the running ability of both the quarterback and the running backs for the Commanders, and then kind of made Jaden Daniels' life hell in the pocket whenever he was looking for somebody to throw to. 24 of 42 for 200 yards for JD5. 4 sacks. Really, it was like what's a good word for it? It was like a contained pressure, we felt like. And then on the other end of it, rushing, I mean, they gave Jacobs 23 carries. That is insane. You want to talk about a bell cow back? Josh Jacobs is the guy. 23 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. His longest one was only 10 yards, but honestly, I feel like that's really Jacobs' style. He's going to ground and pound between the tackles. He does have like a kind of a threat to bounce it outside and take off, but he's more of like a bruiser is what I like to call it, more of a bruiser. So 3.7 yards per carry, that's not great, but that is solid. Again, 23 carries for 84 yards. And then Tucker Kraft just really bursted onto the scene in this game. 7 targets, 7 receptions, 124 yards, and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs, 5 targets, 3 catches. Dontavian Wicks really stepped up after Jaden Reed exited the game. 6 targets, 4 catches. Chris Brooks, 4 targets, 3 catches. Jaden Reed broke his collarbone. I don't know if you guys have heard that or not, but they really did a good job. The Packers did. Jordan Love only threw the ball 30 times, 19 of 31 for 292 and 2 touchdowns. The Packers really put together a complimentary game, both on the ground running and then stopping the run for the Commanders. But one thing that kind of transitioning now to like looking forward to the year, like the rest of the year for both of these teams, something that really concerns me for the Commanders is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin. I mean, he had 9 targets, 5 catches, but it really felt forced to me with JD5. It really felt forced. And I don't know if that's just him not being there in the preseason, the offseason programs and stuff for that contract negotiation. I really can't speak much to that because his snap count was up there in week 1. It was up there in week 2. I mean, Debo also had 8 targets. Zach Ertz had 8 targets. I really think for the Commanders to take that leap forward like they want and be another playoff push in a run to the NFC Championship game, I really feel like Terry McLaurin is going to have to step it up and become that Terry, that scary Terry that we've all like come to love. It's just something's off with. I don't know if it's timing or separation from him. I don't think it's conditioning. I really don't. I just think it's kind of it's got to be timing between him and JD5. Gotta be. And then also it could be Cliff Kingsbury writing Debo Samuel more into the script, getting him those looks. Debo's been in motion a lot. I mean, he had 8 targets, 7 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know if it's kind of Cliff figuring out exactly what he wants to do with Debo and then kind of going back to Terry for like the middle games and then for that playoff push, kind of let them like unleash both of them on the offense. I wish I could get inside Cliff's head or sit inside those offensive meetings just to see exactly what's going on with Terry. Because, like I said, if the Commanders are going to take that step forward, they need both Debo and Terry to be threats in this offense. And then on the Packers side, this might be a really hot take, but Jaden Reed breaking his collarbone really doesn't bother me or worry me with the Packers. I think their wide receiver depth is something that is absolutely insane. The one thing I'm worried about is running back depth. And I only say that because the workload Josh Jacobs is getting on this offense is absolutely ridiculous. 23 carries for 84 yards. Guys, the dude is an absolute workhorse. Like one of my favorite running backs in the league. One of the best running backs in the league. But I just question if they can keep up this style throughout the year and Josh Jacobs stay healthy and fresh for those big games whenever they need to lean on him for those 25 runs a game. If Josh Jacobs were to get hurt, I'm not sure Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks could really step up and fill that role. So I would really like to see the Packers lean on Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks for even 5, 8 touches a game. Just kind of bring back Josh Jacobs' workload just a little bit to ensure he is fresh for down the stretch. I mean, their wide receiving core is absolutely loaded. Tucker Kraft bursting onto the scene now. Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks had a really good game. 4 catches, 44 yards on 6 targets. Chris Brooks is getting involved more in the passing game. Luke Musgrave caught 2 balls on 2 targets for 32 yards. Malik Heath had that really long catch, like a 37-yarder down the sidelines. And then I would like to see Matthew Golden take a step forward. He probably will now that Reed is out. But again, it's just I'm really worried about that running back depth for the Packers. I mean, fingers crossed. I hope the best for Josh Jacobs. I just don't see how he stays healthy for 18 games if they're going to keep feeding him like this. So that's kind of our outlook. Packers, top 5 defense in the league. I mean, definitely. I think they were going to be a top 10 defense in the league without Micah Parsons. Now you add him to that front. That's scary. Scary. Packers probably team to beat now in the NFC. Packers are probably, you know what? We're going to put them behind the Eagles. Let's give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt here. So Packers, second best team in the NFC. Washington would probably put them at fifth or sixth. They're probably going to get the 5 or 6 seed, assuming that Philly wins that division. So you're looking at the Commanders playing on Wild Card Sunday, or Wild Card Weekend, I mean. Right now, just off the top of my head, they would probably be playing a Tampa, Atlanta, the Rams, the Niners, a team like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the Commanders are definitely not out of it, guys. Week 2, they didn't look the best. They just need to establish the run. But now, with Eckler out, that's going to give more opportunity for McNichols, C Rod, Chris Rodriguez, and then Bill Krosky Merritt. So everybody loves JCM, but I can't wait to see kind of what both these offenses morph into as you know in the coming weeks and later on in the season. So that's kind of the recap and then outward looking for both teams here. Let's jump in and review the bets that we had for this game. Those that joined us live whenever we put together that same game parlay, we came this close to smacking it, guys. Let's just talk about the positives, okay? We gave up 3 legs here. JD5 over on passing attempts, Jordan Love over on rushing yards, and Noah Brown over on receptions. I want to start off with the ones that we absolutely hit the nail on the head with. JD5 over on passing attempts. He had 42. We had over 31.5. He came out throwing the ball. I really thought they would hammer the passing game late in the game. They did. They absolutely did. Mainly because the Packers eliminated all hope of them establishing the run. So 42 passing attempts is huge. He had 30 last week in kind of like that blowout win against the Giants, even though it really wasn't a blowout win. But hey, to each their own. So we absolutely smacked that one. Jordan Love over 6.5 rushing yards. I really think Jordan Love is going to be a scamper this year. I think Matt LaFleur is kind of going to unleash him as long as he stays healthy. Last year, he barely ran the ball at all because of those injuries early in the season. If you go back to 2023, he was running 3 or 4 times a game for about 10 to 15 yards. So really liked that one. He hit that in that first carry. I think it was the first quarter when he chucked that dude for like a 14-yard run. Really liked that play. He cleared it easily with 12 yards, over 6.5 cash. And then the one that could have been a sweat late, Noah Brown over 2.5 receptions. He finished with 1, but he had 4 targets. If you were to tell me before the game Noah Brown's going to get 4 targets, I would have loved that bet of over 2.5. He had 1 catch, and then he had one kind of a drop. It was a forced drop, is what I like to call, when he caught it and went to tuck it on the sidelines there late in the game, and then Green Bay got his hand up through the ball and knocked it out. Great play by the defender of Green Bay. But I mean, Noah Brown could have very easily came down with that. And then you're talking we just need one more of those receptions to go our way, and we smacked that plus 625 parlay. So that one, I feel like that was a good bet on our end. Obviously, I wish it would have came home for everybody, but it didn't. And then kind of talking about the other ones that didn't go our way, we had Matthew Golden, anytime touchdown at plus 290. I felt like the first touchdown of the game, or maybe it was the first first or second drive of the game. He was running almost like a post route in the end zone, and Jaden Love kind of underthrew it a bit, but I felt like Matthew's got to come back to the ball there. Maybe he'll learn and eventually do that. But we got that at plus 290. It closed at plus 285, so we got a little bit of EV there in closing line value. But I really felt like if he comes back to the ball there, that's a touchdown for Golden. Another one we didn't hit was JD5 plus 180. Really thought they could have done a better job of getting him out of the pocket. But again, hats off. You got to tip the cap to that Green Bay defense, man. They were flying around everywhere. Again, they did a contained pressure on him and did a really good job of limiting him on the ground. So again, hats off to the Green Bay Packers. We were dead wrong on that one. And then the other one we were wrong on, the biggest bet of the night was Josh Jacobs not to score a touchdown at plus 165. We kind of bought back our position on this later in the day as the line started to move. We had 1.1 units on this. We bought it back by, where's it at here? Where's it at? We put like 0.2 units on him to score later in the day. So we bought back our position a bit. I just felt like plus 165 with that defensive front of Washington was just way too big of a number. So we did bet on him not to score. Obviously, that didn't cash. And again, we bought back our position a little bit later in the day. Obviously, we should have bought it back more, hindsight being 2020. But anyways, enough with the losses, guys. Enough with the losses. We had two really nice touchdown hits from Thursday Night Football. Zach Ertz was the biggest one. Anytime touchdown score at plus 290. You can see on the screen here, we won 63.80 on that. And then Tucker Kraft, anytime touchdown score at plus 240. We won 72 on that. We got really good closing line value on both of those. We got 9.7% on the Kraft one. And then the Ertz, we got 2.6%. So I love closing line value, guys. That's what we're all about here. So the overall record for Thursday Night Football, including the parlay that we missed, including the buyback of the Josh Jacobs touchdown, 3-4 plus 0.7 units. And again, we hit Ertz plus 290 and Kraft plus 240. Really, like, I'll take that every single game, right? 21% ROI, insane. Really, really like that. Overall closing line value of 3.22%. I feel like that could be a little bit higher, but again, it probably has something to do with us buying back on that Josh Jacobs touchdown. So let me know what bets you guys smacked in that Thursday Night Football game. Those are all the bets that we hit, all the bets that we lost, guys. We were completely transparent. So let's get it, baby. Now we're moving on to college football for this weekend and NFL Sunday, week 2. Let's go, baby. Let's go. As always, guys, if you like this content, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way to helping us out here. So let's get it, guys. Let's get it, and good luck this weekend. Let's go.